Well, Kabir Adamu is the managing director of Beacon Consulting Limited, which is a security risk management and intelligence consulting company. He joins us now live from Abuja. Welcome to TRT World. We just heard there that most African leaders are inclined to stay non-aligned and out of the confrontation there between the West and Russia. Do you think that will continue?
Yeah, so it depends on a couple of things. It depends first on the pressure that the African countries continue to experience. As you're aware, the impact of the Russian invasion of Ukraine has created global disruptions in especially supply chain and then the energy crisis. Now, most African countries are at the receiving end of that, and they are under enormous pressure. A lot of their economies are going through a lot of crisis at the moment, and so they are looking for ways to ease that. And frankly, it depends on where that ease comes from. The Western world does not continue to support, especially in economic chances, and then Russia offers that hand, which it's already doing, at subsidized, petroleum products as an example, and then some other form of support, economic support. That I think would be what would tilt the way African countries respond to this in the long run. Again, it also depends on how long the invasion lasts and what the consequences of the invasion.
And how much of a balancing act is it? Because they have been so affected by the lack of grain getting to their countries.
Yeah, I mean, virtually all the African countries are at the receiving end of that. We've seen in Nigeria, as an example, where I am, the energy crisis, the supply of grain. Bakers have been on strike. They've announced an increase of the prices. The quality of the products have reduced. So all of that is being felt by the people, and of course by business owners. And that is also putting pressure on government. It would play, in the case of Nigeria, there is an election coming up. The government will have to respond to this, especially the party in power, and that again will have a consequence. It's all about, I think, interest and how France, of course, is attempting to regain its lost.
Yes, why is Emmanuel Macron in Africa this week?
Exactly, and his rhetoric, the statement, the narrative he seems to be selling is, look, you're not going to get anything better from France. But unfortunately from Russia. Unfortunately for France, it's been in Africa for quite a long time, and most residents of the countries where France had enormous influence are frankly frustrated with whatever it is that France has been able to give those countries. And you can see the resentment from especially the local populace.
And do you think, right now we're speaking to you, of course, from Istanbul, and as you said, African countries are on the receiving end of that grain not getting there. How much pressure will, now that this trip has finished by Sergei Lavrov in Africa, how much pressure behind the scenes will there be to make sure this deal, that is from the Türkiye negotiated deal for the grain, for that to continue to be successful, to get to Africa? How much pressure behind the scenes will there be from African countries?
So we're hoping that the diplomatic, platforms, especially the multilateral ones, will step in. The AU at a point had attempted to, where ECOWAS too, as a sub-regional body, has also attempted. So I'm hoping that despite these high-level visits, that these diplomatic platforms will follow up. At the end of the day, what matters is interest. Right now, the interest of Africa is to have more grains, not to be affected really by the consequence of this war. Unfortunately, that's not happening. They are being affected. And so muzzle that diplomatic pressure, especially from the multilateral front. If all 53 countries come together and speak in one language, then the likelihood of pressure, especially on the global players, the US, and essentially the proxy war between Russia and the US. So the pressure points are known, and I think diplomatic pressure on those pressure points play part. The role Turkey is playing is, commendable, and so it's another point, to exert pressure, and then of course get interest. What the interest of Africa at the moment is to help relieve the pressure on the economy, as it were, now.
Kabir, thank you so much. Kabir Adamu speaking to us from Abuja. Thank you. Really appreciate your analysis and your time on this issue.